I was earning 6,000 a month as a coordinator. I want more people, more access, so more people come in. Events are being monetized. People who want to reach these communities pay us.
What has been like the hardest part? Consistency, people, self-doubt.
I think it is knowing your worth. I have undersold myself for a very long time so far.
What's one thing about entrepreneurship that people completely misunderstand?
You can earn more money in entrepreneurship than you can in a 9 to 5. That I feel like is a misconception. If you're well educated, you should do a corporate job because business is for those who are uneducated. If you're building systems, you can have your system run with minimal effort.
The amount of risk is the same.
Explore different ideas, experiment, build failure as a muscle. If failure holds you back from trying again next time, you will never be able to be an entrepreneur. Build failure as a muscle.
Hey guys, hello, welcome back to another video. This is your Capsule, and today we are back with another podcast with Malika. First of all, thank you so much. I know you have been super busy. I know you have been doing so many things in your life. This is what the podcast is mainly about. But thank you, because the reason is you are, I would personally consider, is an entrepreneur, and I personally have some things that I want to personally learn, and the students and the people who are thinking to come to Australia might be learning from you.
Yeah.
So let's dive in directly, because I want to know so much. But before starting, as far as, let me tell you what I know about you. So you have just graduated from RMIT, right? You have done your something early stage entrepreneur building, right, which is named as Level Up. And what study did you do, if I'm correct?
Masters in Business IT.
Obviously, please. So this is what I know. But for the people who are watching you and me and this podcast for the first time, some information for your background and what you do, and then we'll go forward.
Okay, so I'll start with what I did in my bachelor's because that gives more context. I did my bachelor's in mass media from MIT University in Pune, and I moved here with the intention of doing media project management. But when I was coming to Australia, I was told that IT is the skill that is in demand. So I took a course that would get me into project management, but something towards the IT side. So IT project coordination or management. And so to be able to do that, I did a course in business IT from RMIT.
When are you going to land in Australia? Sorry to cut you.
2022.
If you can, while you're saying, if you can
Give timelines? Yeah, sure. So I came to Australia in 2022 and then I graduated from my course in 2023. This was a 2-year course, after which immediately, like right before I was graduating, I landed a job as an IT project coordinator and I started working before I graduated. So I was full-time working before I graduated. And that was in a company called IMI Solutions, but the company that the client that we were working for was Coles. So I was working from the Coles office as a IT project coordinator. And I did that for 2 years. After 2 years, in Jan this year, I left my full-time job to pursue my goals for entrepreneurship in community building because I took up IT initially only because I wanted the PR. But by Jan, when it was my time to put my PR application in, IT went really low on the list. And so the chances of getting a PR by IT, especially with my points, given I had not done my professional year, I refused to do NARDI and extra unnecessary examinations. My points were really low to be able to get like a 190 or a 186, 189, whatever that visa is. So I left that. I left the IT job and now I'm doing full-time community building. I run 2 communities. One is called Yari, which was earlier Level Up Lab. Level Up Lab started as a podcast last year. We did a lot of episodes which ranged in a variety of places. Actually, Vani was one of my guests on the podcast. I collaborated with RMI TV, which is RMIT's media group department, media team, and they helped me understand how to do it, launch it, host it, all of that. But while I was doing podcasts, I started a series of entrepreneurial content And in the podcast, it was just one business coach that I did a series of 6 episodes with. And as a result, the podcast drifted into business and entrepreneurship because my interest generally drifted into business. And while doing that, I realized that the audience of the podcast, who were mainly young entrepreneurs in Melbourne, were facing more than just confusion or a lack of information. They were facing loneliness. So, to solve for that, I started co working with this particular set of people, of audience of Level Up Lab, which was a podcast. And soon, in about 3 months, it's been 3 months now since we've been doing the things that we do. I renamed it, rebranded it as Yari, it's a community of young entrepreneurs, young South Asian entrepreneurs in Melbourne. We together, okay, so it's a community of young South Asian entrepreneurs in Melbourne. Yari, because it's Yar in Hindi is friends. E is for entrepreneurship, so entrepreneurial friends. And it's booming. It's literally booming. Every week we do co-working sessions, either co-working sessions or barbecues or sports events or workshops with some of the biggest names in the industry. And the most important thing for entrepreneurs in Melbourne was, at least South Asian ones, people we've just graduated from university, they were sitting at the fringes of the startup ecosystem. They had a startup, but they didn't know where to go with it. So my aim and my goal and what has already been happening is I'm taking them from the fringes into the center of the startup ecosystem. This week, actually on Wednesday, we are working with co-working at Antler's office. Antler is one of the biggest venture capital firms in Australia. And we are co-working at their office. We're going to be sitting down with the venture capital, their partners, their investment managers. The whole group will get insight into the VC world, investing, startups, whatever they need to learn about growing and building the startup. So that is what is happening in Yari. Yari was earlier Level Up Lab. Now it is rebranded as Yari. And this is a community of South Asian entrepreneurs in Melbourne. The second community is South Asian performing artists in Melbourne. So these are dancers basically. So I'm a dancer. I have learned Kathak for 4 years, but I've been dancing in multiple styles since I was 3 years old. So
Wait, what?
yeah,
Since 3 years.
3 years old. Yeah. So I've been into dance for a very long time, and I wanted to learn new dance styles here. Lekin there was no one teaching, say, hip hop on Indian music, and Thebito, it was very far away in the suburbs. So I started a community where I started by teaching workshops myself. Initially, there were 3 attendees. Now we have classes full. It is packed, like 22, 25 attendees. This started 3 months ago. I collaborated with someone from University of Melbourne Performing Arts some course she was doing there. And she gave me access to the studios. We started with 3 attendees. Then I invited multiple people. A lot of my friends also dance. So I told them, come host workshops. They hosted workshops. Now it's basically a bunch of 300 people. About 10 of them are workshop hosts. I brought them together. We do workshops every Sunday in different styles. And yeah, that's also functioning really well. My favorite part about that one is Instagram is booming like crazy, like 300K plus reach, and that one is blowing up. But Yari is more invite only, so it is kind of like a restricted space. Magan is more the South Asian community of performing artists is called Magan, and that one is flying.
So when you said, so considering these 2 startups, you got Yari for the entrepreneurs, which is specific to South Asian.
Yeah.
Second is Magan, dancing. Is it also specific to?
It's mostly Hindi music, so only South Asians come.
That's my personal question. These 2 startups make you earn money?
Yes, not too much so far, but yes.
What's the ways of, because both of this, I can see you started as more like community, more like helping and understanding people and giving them better space than a loneliness home. How do you earn from this helping? Because I'm making this video for helping purpose.
Yeah.
But I'm not earning much from this. Example.
It's mainly partnerships. So although since I'm doing events are paid events, and as of now it is very lowly priced because I want more people, more access, so more people come in. So it's very lowly priced. So once there is more traction on it, prices will go up, obviously, like any business. But more importantly, because our reach is there, because you're running social media channels, there can be partnerships that happen, paid partnerships. And Yari, because it's a restricted space, it is an invite only community, the cost of the events is higher. Now, if I'm hosting a roundtable discussion with the CFO of a huge ass organization, I cannot charge people like $10-15 to come and sit at the table. I need to charge them a lump sum amount to get a seat at the table. So that way, and I'm trying to cut my expenses, fixed costs, by using community spaces. So I booked the Victoria Library on, no, Naguru Library on near Vic Market. So the spaces that I'm booking are low cost, but I'm charging as much as I'm supposed to be charging for the level of people that I'm bringing in, the level of guests that I'm bringing in. So that is how events are being monetized. But even for Yari, eventually I think it's going to be a paid partnership system where there are people who want to reach these communities that pay us.
Okay. So if I would say the amount of money you were earning as a what was the role? ICT
IT project
IDT
coordinator.
coordinator. Is it the same amount of monthly salary you're earning? Half?
At the moment, no. But I'm hoping to be able to make the same and more in about 1 year's time.
Is it half of it?
It is not even half. I'll give you clear figures. I was earning 6,000 a month as a coordinator.
Coordinator.
Now I'm earning 1,000 a month as a community builder. But it's worth the alignment in my career
But
and in my goal.
how will you survive like as a is considering as a
Initially, you have to pay. You have to use up your savings. So I worked for 2 years. I built a corpus for myself. Now I'm eating out of the corpus. I will be eating out of the corpus until I have, and there's a runway calculator that you can get as a business, as an entrepreneur. You just put it up on ChatGPT, it will come. It will tell you, given your savings, given your expenditure per month, and given your current income and projections, what's your runway, in how much time you will break even, in how much time you'll start making profits, in how much time. So, how do you sustain it? There's a whole calculation that's done for that. Initially, no business will earn profits equal to how much you earn in a corporate. But if every entrepreneur, I tell you, is a little crap. Like they will not get running a business is harder than going for a 9 to 5. My mom, when I tell her about this, she's like, why aren't you just using the easy route? For me, it does not align with me. And while it may be easy, I am more fulfilled when I'm doing this. I'm more driven when I'm doing this. I have flexibility of my time. I can choose to go on a trek on Thursday instead of Saturday and Sunday because the weather is better on Thursday and not on Saturday and Sunday. So, I mean, I like the flexibility of that. I like that I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing and not something that I have to do for PR reasons. And it's slow. It's going to be a slow growth, but eventually there is growth.
How are you gonna sort the PR reasons?
That there's only one option that I have left, which is the National Innovation Visa.
How many years do you left with the visa? Which visa?
I got a 5-year post-study work visa
Because of COVID.
because of COVID.
Mhm.
And so I'm on my second year. I have 3 years left.
You have time.
I have time. So, but I'm totally fine going back home just in case it does not work out because I want to be doing all of this because I love doing it, not because I need to do it for a PR. As long as I'm doing what I love doing from India, I'll be fine.
See, I get your point.
Hmm.
That's a question. When you come here, you have a mentality of getting settled ASAP. You want to get settled in this. You're making this connection, your community, your clients, your people are here. When you're going to go, the time difference, the online shift.
Yeah, there's going to be a difference. It's about being open
So
to
we
it.
rather,
Hmm.
why not, if you have 7 days, that's a suggestion. Why, if you have 7 days, why not taking 1 day to sort your.
I tried that. So for the 2 years that I was doing my ICT project coordinator role, out of that 1 year, after 1 year, I told my manager, see, look, my goals are not to grow in the corporate space. My goal is to start a business of my own. This is what I'm doing. He's like, okay, I'll reduce your responsibilities, keep your pay the same, get half the day back to you, do it. I did that. That's how I ran the podcast last year. But it's more about if I was able to achieve, say, 50%, I was able to achieve 50% of my goals by doing that while keeping the IT role open. But firstly, actually, wait, there was no point of that, because even if I was doing the IT role, when I put my application in, IT was at the lowest demand. It went down in demand. So even if I did put the application in, even if my pay was say 100 plus, the chances of getting a PR through that were extremely slim. I realized that my chances of getting a PR through the National Innovation Visa is higher compared to the IT role. So I decided, firstly, I'm giving 100% to my goals. Secondly, I kind of have better chances of getting this than that.
Just for the audience and me as well, do you mind explaining this National Innovation Visa?
Yeah.
And the requirements?
So the basics is what I know is you have to have an established name and business in the industry, and a very established person or reputed person from the industry needs to endorse you, needs to write a letter saying that this person is a very valuable person for your economy and their venture is a very valuable venture for the economy. Then there are chances of getting the National Innovation Visa. That's the only thing.
Any turnover or something required?
No. That's a different one. You invest a certain amount in the country and get the visa that way. That's a different one. National Innovation is just doing what you do.
Okay, it's not more than like a business visa, right?
No, it's not like a business visa.
Because usually business visas consider you to have at least 1 million. I believe, I'm not sure, at least around $1 million in a year.
I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, there is a very large amount.
This Yari or Level Up / Level Up, for example, I have a new client. Let's have a free session now. Okay, I'm a new client. I make part-time YouTube podcasts and videos for international students. I want to convert this into a business. I'm coming to you as a client.
So I don't have clients. I have community members.
Okay, sorry, community members. And you said in podcast you give guidance, right?
Yeah.
So how would you guide me in
So it
building my
depends on what are you looking for now. Now, are you looking for industry connections? Are you looking to learn from your peers? Are you looking to grow your audience and get partners? Like do you want me to open doors for you to grow your audience?
I want to grow the audience. I want to help international aspiring students all over the globe and the migrants, not just for Australia, all over the globe. But I want to earn money as well. Easy words, simple
Yes.
words.
So if you're doing a media channel, if you're doing social media, basically, the main and only way of getting income is paid partnerships. So as long as there is you can pitch to clients for sponsorship, you could pitch to clients for paid collaborations, and people who want the story told, they can also pay you because you're doing free personal branding for them. This is personal branding. I could have paid you for this. So
okay, guys, bring the check.
So exactly. So these are 3-4 ways in which you can monetize. But these things, how did I find out? Not by doing it, not by asking people around me, because everyone around me was doing corporate jobs. I was sitting in a room with other entrepreneurs. The people in the room, there are other people in the room who are also influencers. So they told me about how do they monetize. You get to know the rates. They give you inside rates. How much does he charge? How much? And there's one person who's running an agency. His model is very clear there, and then I understood how agency models work. So getting insight into the business world does not come by sitting around corporate people. It comes by sitting around people who are in the business world. And when people are in the same boat, everyone's an international student, everyone wants a PR, everyone wants a business also simultaneously. There are multiple ways in which people are doing that. Now, for example, there's one who's doing a full-time job and is doing a side hustle then. That's one way to go. There's one person who has given up on doing a full-time job. He's like, I will do this, I will grow this, a little like me. And he said that he will finally find a way to get a PR or do an early childhood course or something like that. So everyone's taking different pathways. You get exposure to the kind of pathways that exist. And then very recently, I actually spoke to the City of Melbourne councillor, and I told him that this is what international students are facing. They want to start businesses, but they're not able to get. They simultaneously they do also want a PR. They want, can you do something for entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial visa or something like that? He's like, all we can do is advocate. So I told him, okay, how can I advocate for you? He's like, try to amplify the voices. So we may eventually start a page or something. I mean, the page already exists. Maybe I start amplifying the voices of the community members so that somewhere something clicks. And for entrepreneurs in Melbourne, there is something, there is a PR pathway. Like there's so much scope, there's so much economic growth that these companies are bringing, but it's bloody not recognized. And these guys are having to struggle and do it at half capacity when they can do it at full capacity. So eventually something somewhere will click. But yeah, this is what being around like-minded people opens. And even when there's this person our last roundtable was with someone called Neeraj Pau. He's the CFO of Austrac. Austrac is Australia's financial regulation authority, and he's a chief financial officer there. He was talking about how is it that you can set up a runway for yourself, how is it that you can build your wealth in a way where you're able to manage both. How do you create a lean model system for your business so that your expenses are very low, your revenue is high, your profits are high, your margins are high, while also reducing your effort, because obviously you need to put in little effort to be able to do a full-time job if you want to PR that way. So there are different ways in which you're exposing yourself to ideas by being around these people. That is what this is about.
In easy words, surroundings matter.
Yes.
And I had a question actually, but you already answered it. But because of just for a brief info, and also to convert it into a YouTube short briefly. So the question, I understood this, but still, most of the students in Australia, I would say, or as an international student in any country, try to survive the uni, basically. On the other hand, you are making or building up a business, two businesses. Why? And what would be the points? Briefly, I know, just for a YouTube short.
Why? Because it's what I want to do. I refuse to be tied down by what I have to do.
9 to 5.
9 to 5. I refuse to be tied down by expectations of others. I want to function by as per my own expectations. So my expectations or my goals are more aligned when I'm doing this than that.
How many hours do you sleep a day?
6, 7. Yeah, sleep is a little messed up because there's too much work to do. But eventually I get there. But discipline.
Have you got any funding or resources yet?
Not yet.
Team?
Yes. Full-fledged team, half in India, half here.
How many people?
There's a whole agency that I've tied up with in India, which is, I think it's a team of 4 people for my work, but their entire team is full of like 20.
What do they do for you?
Editing, podcast editing, reels, social media, all of that. And then there's one person, there are 2 people here. There's one designer, there's one social media handler. One social media handler for Magan, one social media handler for Yari. And there's one more person who was working on the podcast here with me and is now moving back to India because he did not get a visa. So he will be working for me from India on the intellectual content side of it.
Do you pay them?
No, half of them are paid, half are voluntary. So I think the very high in demand skills and the more polished work is paid. The work that does not require a lot of polish as of now, that is unpaid. That's voluntary.
How much amount of the money in total would you spend in this all over every month?
What is it?
Every month, how much money would you?
What's my fixed cost?
Yeah, what's your cost that you?
50% of the revenue that I'm earning is fixed cost.
Give me a number.
As of now, it's $500.
Per month you're spending on editing and all stuff. How many podcasts do you, and how many things do you upload out of this $500?
So actually, I started paying people only last month. Until for a year, there was all voluntary work that was happening.
Last month, how many content have you posted?
Every week there are 2 posts going up on Magan's page. On Yari's page, there is 1 post going up every week.
Your editors are expensive than mine.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Let's talk on struggles.
Hmm.
Through this journey from a student to an entrepreneur, what has been like the hardest part? Consistency, people, or self-doubt? You can add out of it. In this, what's the hardest? What has been your hardest part in this whole kind of journey? You have been doing it for 1 year almost, right? So that students or people who are thinking to make their own, because you want them to make their own businesses, right?
Yeah.
If they can learn from these hardest parts.
I think it is knowing your worth. I feel like I have undersold myself for a very long time so far. I still haven't built the courage to be able to sell my work at the value that it should be sold at.
No, you sold. I'm coming next time.
I love hearing that. Oh, by the way, come Wednesday then. Come for Antler's co-working session. What about?
Wednesday,
Hmm.
need to talk on this because I need to see what's my
ठीक है. What was I saying? That yeah, to be able to sell the services that I provide, I feel like I am charging at a low point at this point because I need to build belief in the fact that my effort is worth their income. But there are some places where I've understood, okay, yes, my effort is worth the income. Like, for example, the round tables, I'm like, yeah, I am bringing a bloody big person in. I can charge that amount. Then there are other places where Magan was 10 to 50, $10 initially. Actually, $0 initially. Then I built the courage to make it 10. Then I built the courage to make it 15. From next week, it's going to 20. So slowly, I'm building the courage to charge the amount that I think I am worth. The effort is
So you're
being
saying
worth.
one of the hardest part is building up your courage to put on a little extra step every time you go.
And it's very difficult, pulling things together, pulling resources together. There's no one who supports this. Nobody will tell you that go build a business. You come as an international student, leave your job, build a business. Obviously, no one will say that. You have to have self-belief. And people who do this are a little cracked. I don't know why they do it. Even I don't know why I'm doing it. I do not advise it. Do not leave your job and do this. Do it as a side hustle. But it requires courage and it requires bravery to be able to pursue it. So gathering courage for that is also difficult, but eventually, yeah, it comes.
You said you're making a community, right?
Hmm.
Why not focus mainly because you're well intellect and educated? You know things, you know business, you know startups, you have connections. If you would wanted to move up on a better level job, you would have.
Hmm.
Why not focus on directly making money?
Money is not my goal. It's enjoying what I do.
Business has an output, right? And money is one of the biggest outputs.
Money, I feel like, is a byproduct of my efforts. To me, money is a byproduct of my efforts. But there are different people who do businesses for different reasons. I know people in the community who they say, I want this much amount of money this year. Which business can I do to be able to get that? They are trying multiple businesses, whichever clicks, okay, great. Then there are people like me who are more purpose driven. They're like, this particular thing requires effort and basically, yeah, this particular thing requires effort and I want to work on this thing, and they head in that direction. Money then becomes a byproduct. But also, actually, people who are doing this, people are doing it my way, they have another skill that they're able to monetize. Like, there's someone who is a table tennis coach and is building a coaching program for children, but it's called Soulful Learning. Like, his program is very different from table tennis, but he's doing table tennis on the weekends to be able to earn a living, and then simultaneously on the weekdays he's pursuing Soulful Learning. So people who are and for me also, I'm kind of doing the same thing because Magan is getting me proper income compared to Yari. So plus I also sometimes facilitate. There's this company that I'm working with. It's a New York based company called Closer. I am with them like a freelancer where I get paid to facilitate a small gathering of people to create a sense of belongingness amongst them. So for about, I think, 1.5, 2 hours, I get 150 US dollars. So like these small things that we keep doing on the side can help build a corpus to keep our rent and other living expenses going. But I feel like if you're heading in the direction that you are dedicated in, money becomes a byproduct. It will come. Eventually it will come. But you have to believe in yourself.
That's a motivation for me, I would say. Because right now I don't earn, be honest. The amount of money I earn, I'll be honest, the amount of money I earn through YouTube when I'm posting on 2 different channels, every week I have minimum 3 or 4 videos, like 2 podcasts or maybe whatever. I earn the amount of money which I would have earned in just 5 hours of any random job. And that's the monthly. So money is now not my motivation for this for now.
For now, exactly.
But back of the mind, I want it to
What's
be.
the reach like? I mean, I haven't checked your page as much. What's the follow account? What's the reach like?
We'll talk about this after
Okay.
this. I'll show you the analytics.
Okay.
Anyway, what's one thing about entrepreneurship that people completely misunderstand?
You were talking about this actually last week only. They say the notion in India is that if you're well educated, you should do a corporate job because business is for those who are uneducated. But that's not a fact. That's not true. You can be doing entrepreneurship even if you're well educated. And that I feel like is a misconception. The other misconception is that it's you can earn more money in entrepreneurship than you can in a 9 to 5. It's a possibility. It is definitely the goal, but it takes time.
And it's a risk as well.
It's a risk as well.
So the word entrepreneurship, the amount of letters this word has, people think the amount of money you will gonna get. But the problem is the amount of risk is the same, and you need to
Equally
pass this river, and then you're gonna be.
Also, it requires the building of systems. I don't think everyone gets that. When people are building things, they almost always their effort equals the money or their returns. But if you're building systems, you can have your system run with minimal effort. So the actual entrepreneurship or good entrepreneurship is when you're building systems that can function on autopilot. That I realized not function on autopilot, it does require effort, but systems reaps higher value.
I would say if someone is watching this right now, right, today, and but feels lost, what do they actually do first to become an startup owner or an entrepreneur?
First, look for what is it that drives you, motivates you on a regular basis to get out of your bed and get going with the day. Start there and then make a list of values, your intrinsic motivation, your extrinsic motivation, and see what's holding you back from starting what you want to. If you have an idea already, great. If not, explore different ideas, experiment, and build failure as a muscle. You experiment, you fail. If failure holds you back from trying again next time, you will never be able to be an entrepreneur. Build failure as a muscle, build consistency as a muscle, and yeah, basically, failure and consistency need to be built as muscle.
And I would add one more thing: patience.
Patience, yes. It takes time.
It takes time. It's not 2 minutes Maggie. Which never becomes in 2 minutes.
Also, start surrounding yourself with entrepreneurs in that case. I swear we also have a bunch of aspiring entrepreneurs. These people haven't started things yet, but eventually they do want to. So they surround themselves with success stories or hardship stories. They just know what are they getting themselves into.
See, me personally, being honest, well, not talking about entrepreneurship, but I am really fond of sitting into the people who are already done with their lives good, like earning good, have good settled lives, have wife, have kids. I don't sit with teenagers or 18, 20 years old children much. I just do meet them, have fun, and come back. Because and then they say, why are you so busy always? Because I have things going on in my mind. I'm not saying they don't have goals. I have more.
Your ambition is high.
I wanna always sit with mature people, because the people you are around with teaches you so many things.
I agree.
Yeah. So this is how I would say anything in the world would work. If you sit with criminals,
Yep.
one day that you can kill anyone and I have my back. Same way, if you sit with good aspiring kind of people who are doing good in their life, makes sense.
I've noticed that you become what you expose yourself to, because we cannot come up with things from our imagination. Like, no thought of us is an original thought. So if you expose yourself to possible ideas, you can see, okay, I can become a billionaire. I can sit at a table of executive level people. So exposing ourselves to bigger possibilities definitely gets us in better places.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, literally, thank you so much. I didn't think
Pleasure.
you would teach me, because I literally have so many questions, but when I see it's almost 40 minutes, and I don't want to, information overload just children, not children, sorry, it's people. But I have one different kind of different kind of activity, which I always keep in my podcast. Don't steal this.
Okay, pakka.
Rapid fire round.
Of course.
Idea versus execution.
Idea versus execution.
Which one would you choose?
Execution.
Passion or money? I
Passion.
know the answer. Building solo or building with a team?
With a team. Any day.
Come and be kind of guy. Biggest fear right now.
Where will I get money from?
And one word for your journey.
Riveting. It's been exciting all this while.
But anyway, thank you so much for giving so much information. And if you really wanna be a part of Magan and
Yari.
Jari, I would put the links in the description. See, I'm marketing for you.
Thank you.
But what I need in return, I will tell you after
sure.
this video. No money, definitely. I'm not going to charge you. So this is Caps Lock with Malika. If you need more parts of Yari X Caps Talks, means like entrepreneurship and stuff, as a student, how you can build your own business and know more things, keep us posted in the comment section. If you want her to come back, put the comments. If you don't mind, I can share any Instagram or something
Yeah, of
in the
course.
comment section, so that they have any questions
Reach
they can
out,
reply.
of course.
And then you're free. But just don't. That's my thing. Never say hi. Say hi. This is the question in the single message. People say hi and they will reply for the way.
Yeah,
Thumbs up.
true.
So this is Caps Lock Malika signing off. Like this video, share this video to someone, share this podcast to someone who's thinking to make a whole build up kingdom of their own.
Yes.
As
Let's build empires. Bye.